Mortal Kombat 2 needs $160 million to break even. Right now it's sitting at $72 million, which means Mortal Kombat 3 is far from guaranteed, and the decision Warner Bros. Makes next could either save or completely destroy this franchise. Slater is already writing the script, but the movie hasn't been greenlit yet. And depending on how the box office plays out, there are 3 very different versions of Mortal Kombat 3. One would be the most fun this franchise has ever been, one could genuinely be the best Mortal Kombat film ever made, and the last one is the most depressing, but unfortunately also the most realistic option.
Fight!
This one I personally want to see the most, and logically it's also the simplest. The third movie would put Johnny Cage and Kano front and center and fully commit to being a 90-minute gloriously trashy action film. In my opinion, these two were the engine of everything that actually worked in Mortal Kombat 2, but they were constantly interrupted by a film that kept taking itself way too seriously. Option 1 would remove that seriousness entirely. The humor would actually land because the tone isn't constantly fighting against each other. And the plot doesn't need to be Shakespeare, it just needs to be a serviceable vehicle to move you from one incredible physics-defying set piece to the next. This would be like the first Deadpool movie. Like, that movie was made by a studio that finally stopped fighting what the source material was, like in X-Men Origins, slashed the budget and let the characters just breathe. They could do the exact same thing with Mortal Kombat 3. But is it the most likely outcome? Almost certainly not. But given the box office reality, it's more likely than it has ever been. Because if something's already working, studios rarely have the courage to actually change something up and make it intentionally focused on one audience. But having the financial pressure and also the audience feedback, that would have a way of exactly forcing that kind of courage. But while a body cop, Johnny Cage and Kano movie sounds incredibly fun, the director actually set up something much darker and far more ambitious in Mortal Kombat 2's final moments. Which brings us to the epic scenario. But before we break that down, if you want deep dive movie breakdowns exactly like this, please subscribe so I can get to 1000 subs before the end of 2026.
Fatality.
Option 2 would be like a complete 180 from option 1, and it would focus a lot more on the drama epic side of Mortal Kombat. Spoiler alert for Mortal Kombat 2. At the end of Mortal Kombat 2, Liu Kang doesn't die in the traditional sense. He disintegrates phoenix-like into thin air, sucked directly into the Netherrealm, and the surviving characters end the film with one explicit mission: bringing him and the others back. Now, for those who know the games, you already know exactly where this is going. Fire God Liu Kang. In the games, Liu Kang's arc is arguably the most compelling of the entire franchise. Option 2 would forget the massive ensemble for one film and centers the story entirely on rescuing Liu Kang, showing us the psychological cost of becoming something beyond human. They would give us a villain like Shinnok or the deadly alliance of Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, someone who challenges him emotionally, not just physically. The material is already there. Mortal Kombat 2 literally handed it to them on a silver platter. They'd just have to pick it up and continue. The only question is if the studio is willing to risk it on one character.
Finish him!
Option 3 is the studio doing exactly what it did with Mortal Kombat 2, half fixing the problems of the previous film while accidentally creating entirely new ones. Think about the pattern. Mortal Kombat 1 was criticized for Cole Young, for not having a real tournament, and for not committing to the lore. So, Mortal Kombat 2 fixed some of those things, but in doing so, they introduced a bloated roster, a massive tonal identity crisis, and a soundtrack that gave viewers pure whiplash. Slater himself said Mortal Kombat 3 is tailored to take advantage of the strengths of the second, which sounds promising until you realize that Mortal Kombat 2's greatest strengths were consistently undermined by the tone of the movie. Here is what I think option 3 could look like. Johnny Cage and Kano get more screen time, but they still have to share it with a lot of other characters that are completely underdeveloped. Liu Kang is rescued from the Netherrealm and returns as Fire God in a CGI heavy climactic scene that doesn't have nearly enough runway to land emotionally. Shang Tsung becomes the main villain, and a new threat is introduced and wasted, And somewhere in there, Kung Lao comes back again, because the death in this universe is essentially optional. And when death is optional, there are no real stakes. Now, there is a silver lining. The worse Mortal Kombat 2 performs, the more likely it is this franchise accidentally makes the film it always should have made. Mortal Kombat 3 is in an unusual position. The box office will either give the studio the confidence to repeat their mistakes or force them into something leaner, smarter, and more focused. Mortal Kombat 3 will probably be better than Mortal Kombat 2 in the same way that Mortal Kombat 2 was better than Mortal Kombat 1. But better is not the same as great. The bones are there, the cast is there, the only question is whether the circumstances finally force them to use them properly. I would love to be wrong about option 3, and after seeing the box office of Mortal Kombat 2, I think there's a real chance that I actually am. But if you want to know exactly how Mortal Kombat 2's massive identity crisis caused this entire mess in the first place, I broke it all down right here. Click on the screen and I will see you there.